Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Hello and welcome to another Wackimus HD figure reviews. Talk is cheap with this not so recent now release from Maketoys, but this is the Professor of Thirst, the happy bartender himself. We're going to be taking a look at, this is Trashtalk, aka Swerve. We start off this review with an alt mode that jumps right off the pages of IDW's More Than Meets the Eye, in a fashion I'm more than okay with, obviously. Purely Cybertronian in design, this little buggy seems more than capable of venturing onto off-world terrains and handle any off-road obstacles you can probably toss its way. Off-roading is always more fun though with a buddy, and lucky for Trashtalk, he's been released here in a 2-pack with fellow off-roader Cogwheel, better known to us as Gears. These two guys are similar in design and frames and are able to roll rather well. Although similar, what sets these two apart are some small but numerous retooled details that really set them into their own individual personalities. The first up being a molded in mono optic that is able to move and adjust around here for Trashtalk, while Gears also has a set of optics under his engine cover. They're unable to move around, and he has two. Slight difference there. What the reference is for these optics is beyond me, but they don't hinder much, so I say why not. Included are also some weapons and accessories that we'll delve into more in this review, but they do effectively plug in, I'd like to point out. These guys do have robot modes though, so I think it's time to check that out, so let's go. Generations, eat your heart out because this guy nails IDW Swerve to an amazing degree. Maketoys hit the story model from More Than Meets the Eye out of the park this time, and I love it. Of course, we can't forget about the nondescript cogwheel of this set, and these two do share a near identical frame, just like in vehicle mode, with some minor retooling done to the chest and head designs. Speaking of the head, this set comes with 4 of them, which you can interchange with these two figures. Switching the heads is simply a matter of removing the upper torso and popping on a new head onto the ball joint. While the heads come with screws in them, leaving them slightly loose will allow for a much easier swap out and eliminates having to constantly tighten and loosen these screws every time you want to interchange the heads. Included for Trashtalk is a head that allows you to recreate classic IDW Swerve moment with the self-blasted face action that we all know and love. Yes, you can recreate the Schumer accident from More Than Meets the Eye. And speaking of the Schumer, of course you get an included copy as one of his weapon accessory counts. But for just $13 extra, you can get an even better accessory to go with your Trashtalk. Done in limited quantity, you can get Swerve's My First Blaster as a kit to assemble and give to really finish off this IDW look for Swerve. The last gun included in the set is, again, very Swerve related. Astute observers will notice this to be the rivet gun used in some very few panels in IDW. Being Cogwheel doesn't really come with his own weapon, I find I assign this to him more times than not. This is probably my biggest gripe with this set, that Cogwheel doesn't feel very individual at times, being he lacks his own personal weapon and only a G1 head. So this brings us to the part where we talk a little bit about the articulation of these two guys, which is pretty simple because they share the same basic chassis and body structure. So what works on one will work on the other. So We'll pop gears to the side here. We'll just take a look at Swerve first off. So we'll start here down at his ankles. He's got a ball joint which can rock back and forth, side to side, give you all sorts of ankle tilt, which is absolutely terrific. It means he's a great toy. He's also got a detented ratcheting knee here, which gives you about 90 degrees of motion there, as you can see. But if you don't mind, what I find is you can move the wheel out to the side and you get a whole another like double ranged motion here for due to transformation basically. So the downside being, of course, you have to have the wheel on the outside there, which may not work for everybody, but it's not that big of a deal if you ask me. So it does give you the option. We'll come up here to his waist, which is a ball joint inside a really recessed groove into the abdomen. This kind of gives him a bit of an ab crunch as well as a lot of side-to-side movement. Tons of range there, as well as working in unison with a thigh swivel, which also helps give a ton of leg movement. That brings us to the arms here, which can move in and outwards on one of these kind of uniquely ball-socketed joints here that also has a hinge up above that recesses into the arm. It's a really nice system. It works well in this regard. He also has a bicep swivel, a detented ratcheted elbow here, as you can see, and ball jointed wrists. Now the thing with the elbows here, they are kind of almost kind of feeling like soft-ish plastic, so I find I always have to grab it really low down on the back here in order to bend it. So otherwise it feels like I'm just putting a little bit too much pressure for my comfort onto that hinge, and it just feels iffy. And other than that, yeah, the hands pop out like crazy off the ball joints. Didn't even plan that, but that is a pretty common problem with this guy. So what you would think is it's on a ball joint, oh, it must move around like crazy, oh, except you can't get your fingers in here. Well, there's a system here where if you hold and press here, you gotta take his whole upper chest assembly out in order to move his head around. So what you end up doing is you move his head to the side here a little bit, whatever you want, slide his body back in, and now you got him looking to the side. The only problem is if you want him to look straight again, guess what? You gotta do that. So it's a little awkward, a little bit frustrating at times. Would have been nice to have a kind of like access from up here, but what can you do? That's what they chose to do. It's not the end of the world, of course, and he looks best really looking straight on, let's face it. So the last accessory included is a must for a bartender such as Swerve. It's a drink tray and a pitcher of Energon that he's able to share with his fellow Autobots via glasses with pegs for other generations figures that can peg into their hands. Now Trash Talk can talk to customers to his heart's very own content, and we all know how much he loves that. Trash Talk is a well-rounded figure and probably the main reason I think anyone will purchase this set. He's perfectly IDW and a perfect off-the-page rendition of Swerve, one I think many will enjoy. Although the set is getting a little scarce these days, many online retailers seem to have a few around still, so if you're interested in this set, check it out and grab a copy yourself. Anyways guys, this has been Wackimus Prime saying, I hope you've enjoyed this review. We'll catch you all next time.